here we are again.
Yes, we are.
And right now, it's just me and you, Tom.
Yep, like old times, man.
It's just us. Crunch is in, where is he, Fayetteville?
Fayetteville. Yep.
Fayetteville. And is that actually, he's there specifically for Grudge racing,
Yeah,
right?
I think an 8th mile Grudge race. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's what he's there for. Yeah, but I've been texting with him back and forth. We've got him on a live feed, like what should be a real remote live feed.
Yep.
I mean, I think that probably, so many people have listened to the things on Blog Talk Radio and, things like that they don't understand how well this could be done if you wanted to spend some time and money in it.
Right.
And we made sure that,
it's right.
We've got the right stuff. So Crunch should come in with fantastic audio quality. We did do,
and everybody listening is like, let's talk about cars.
Let's talk about cars. Yeah, and then we will have some phone calls today. I hope. We had a couple test calls, so we'll see. All right. You were talking about your what the hell is that XT2
TX2K15, the Texas roll race, the half-mile race that we argue about all the time.
Well, that we argue about the half-mile race, but that's when you started telling me about this.
Yeah.
What explain this?
They roll into a set of cones at 50 miles an hour. Then they race for 1,500 feet, I believe. I hope I'm accurate on that. I think I am. And it is a drag race to the finish line.
Okay.
So, and I got a shout out to my guys at Real Street, man. They took their badass Supra and took down 2,000 horsepower Lamborghinis in a row.
How could that happen?
Shut up.
The Lamborghinis are all-wheel drive. How could that happen?
Yeah, I know. It's a prep racetrack, Mike, and we talked about that. My contention has always been on unprepped surfaces, you can't go 300 in a top sportsman car. That's all I ever said.
Well, first off, the whole argument about the half-mile stuff.
Actually, Pro Mod, right? It was.
Yeah, well, the whole argument about the half-mile stuff was never 300.
You said it was 300.
I said it could probably go 300, but it wasn't 300.
You said that they could go faster than anything down there.
Absolutely, which is what, 233.
Yeah,
big fucking deal.
Dude, I know we've had this argument. People are going to hang up. They're gonna tune us out.
Probably.
I can't help you wrong.
Yeah, that's all right. So when these guys race, what do? They roll like from behind the burnout area, or how does that work?
They do a burnout, and I think they may start a little behind the starting line, or they may start in the beams. I don't know, but they actually roll in to an area, and again, I'm guessing, but it looks to be about 400 feet out.
Right.
I think they're at about 50 miles an hour, and they have to be close to each other. And if they're in that specific zone and it gets called a race, the green light goes on. They hammer them, and they run for 1,500 feet.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And my Real Street guys went in the 180s, I believe, which to beat two Lambos that potentially can go in the 190s was pretty cool. He's just a good driver, and it's a good car. They got taken out by an Alpha 20 GTR. And also I got a shout out to my guys at Top Speed in Georgia. They actually won one of the lower divisions, Super Sport. I don't know what kind of car. I'm going to assume it was a GTR because they have some badass GTRs that run out of their street cars.
But you know what? I got to tell you one thing. This does add a little bit of interesting math to this. They roll in at 50.
Yep.
And they're going 190.
Yep.
So they're picking up 140 miles an hour and 1,500 feet.
Yep.
Dude, do you realize? I mean, I understand prep track.
Dude, that's been my contention. I'm going to say it again the whole time.
Okay. So if we can agree that one of these guys on a half mile on a street car could go 150, 160 or whatever, if they picked up a portion of what these guys picked up in 1,500 feet, it's over for you. You realize that, right?
Well, we're going to see. We're going to see the first week of May how fast they all go at the airport in Virginia.
Well, you know what you should do? You should talk to some of your guys that you're going to talk to, because you're going to Dubai next week.
Tomorrow.
Oh, you're leaving tomorrow?
Yes, I am.
All right. I'd love to see if any of those guys want to get in on this.
Well, yeah, I know. And actually, Anthony on an earlier show was talking about he knew somebody out there that had gone really fast in the half. I think it was in Qatar, but everything is sandy out there anyway. I'm going to be in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. But yeah, I'm going to talk to I'm going to talk to some guys about maybe getting involved in something like that, or maybe something else that's going on here.
Yeah, Anthony didn't say that he didn't want to do this. His guy was actually really interested, and his car owner, and I'm sorry if he listens, and I can't pronounce your name. I'm going to have to hear it a few more times to get it. He's got 2 car owners. They were interested. They wanted to talk about this. But unfortunately, when you called the half-mile guys, they're like, nah.
Yeah.
So I just...
there's no upside to them. And then we found out about the tire rules, and it kind of became a little bit of a shit show. Because you couldn't expect them to do what they do without the tires that they have.
Right. Yeah. If you were going to tell one of these guys, okay, look, you got to put a DOT drag radial on your Pro Mod, that's going to be a little tough.
Well, they're going to say no too. But, oddly enough, as much as we've been arguing about it, I really am interested because I've always said this as well. I don't know. I would love to see it. And I told you something the other day. I was at the Gator Nationals, and we talked about this last week maybe for a little bit, so I'm not going to bore everybody. But, I watched how many guys had trouble hooking on a professionally prepped track, in Pro Mod. Like literally blowing the tires, 100 feet out or 200 feet out or half track. And that's that's the complete theory behind why I think it would be tough for them to do. I'm not saying they can't. And I'm not even going to say you're wrong anymore.
Good.
Even though you are. No, I just think we need to, I would love to know. That's where I'm going to leave it. I would love to know because I know you think it's easier than it is. And maybe I'm making it to sound harder than it is. But somewhere in there, the only way to do it, man, that's why they play the game and that's why they have the race.
Now, the main thing is that these actual events that they're going to, if they can't use a full-on drag tire like we're talking about, well, that's the end of the story.
Well, sure. And I wouldn't be unreasonable and say, well, that's how it is, so F you. I would like to see it. I would like to see one of Anthony's guys, or, well, we talked about that other guy.
I was just going to bring that up
a few shows back. That'll be a perfect test.
He's going to run what, a 1 mile?
Yeah, he's going to try to go 301 mile. So
I can't see how
I
can't do that.
I know. And you know what?
Unless it blows up.
You may be right in a mile.
Yeah.
I mean, I get your math. I do.
I would love to see that guy trying to go 300 and he gets to like the half mile mark and he's going 300. He's like, now what do I do?
Yeah. That would pretty much wreck my argument, right?
Yep. Now, I guess another thing we have to talk about, and
go ahead.
I hate doing this. I hate turning back. I hate going down the same route all the time.
You're not going to Street Outlaws.
I am. I am. Because we started talking about the House of Grudge thing before Crunch knew a little bit about it.
Yep.
And he actually talked about it before we recorded our first real episode. He heard some stuff about it.
Yeah, I think we got the location wrong or something, maybe. Or maybe we didn't. I don't know where the location's going to be, but we were talking Detroit.
Well, yeah. But Crunch knew the guy, that one of the guys that was involved or was talking about it, and that's how it all started.
Yep.
And I mean, we've said from the beginning that could be a real show.
Oh, that could be really cool.
And, so I started looking and had a brief conversation, a chat conversation on Facebook, which I hate. I'm officially on Facebook, and not even as me because I hate it that much.
All right, enough.
Cars. And, so we're going to try to have, some of those guys on, and it would be good. I mean, we've both got some contacts we can make to say.
Yep.
But the premise of the show is great. So go.
It's funny. I just want to mention how cutting edge we actually are and didn't even know it. Man, it was weeks ago we were talking about, it'd be cool to have a real show doing real racing for real money.
Yeah.
And then just today that post comes out where can I talk about it?
Absolutely. Yeah, because I was gonna bring it up. But
okay. So the Street Outlaw guys have told one of their guys, and I don't follow them because as you hate Facebook, I hate Street Outlaws and their chainsaw sound effects and whatever the hell. Anyway, so what's the guy's name? Crunchy? Chunky? Chuddy? What's his name?
Oh, the Andrade guy?
Yeah, he has a name. They all have a name. And I'm not making fun. They're all cool. They all have great.
Well, I think Andrade's name is Andrade because that's his last name.
Yeah, but in the post he had a nickname.
Okay,
like whatever it was. And I'm not making fun.
Now, is this about the Cuddy?
Yeah,
the
Cuddy. Yeah, is that
the Cutlass?
Oh, so that's the car.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's how dumb I am. I didn't know. Yeah, so the Cuddy. All right, so yeah, they said the Cuddy. If the Cuddy goes, I guess he's going to be off the show if he goes to the House of Grudge. So I guess they're going to wait and see. But my point is, way back when we're talking about how it'd be cool to have a real deal, and in that post, the guys, Mike or Ken or whoever posted it, said, you can watch our show and see real racing for real, something like paraphrasing, but the gist,
and without stupid sound effects.
Nothing. And he said that. Yeah, exactly. So I'm actually patting us on the back for being out ahead of it a little bit.
What? Because we hated on it. I mean,
yeah. Why not?
You know who really had a lot of this? It really bothered him sound effects wise was Alan. It really bothered Alan a lot.
Yeah, where is Alan today?
He took the day off. He's got some stuff he's got to do.
He's working on his snow plow.
Actually, what I did is I asked him to figure out a calculation of how fast that 300-mile-an-hour robot could do, and I haven't heard from him since.
Wow.
So I hope he didn't hurt himself.
He's using his fingers and toes.
But no, Alan brought up many times the fake sound effects.
Yeah.
And somehow or another, I never really paid attention to it or listened to it, or maybe because I didn't catch the very, very beginning shows. I mean, I still watch it. I do when it comes on, I watch it. But this other thing, I'm curious, and that's why it'd be great to have the guys from House of Grudge on. I'm curious about the format.
Yep.
How they're going to do it.
Yep.
When they're are they setting up races ahead of time? Is it all a setup, or could there be spontaneous races that happen, because people have attended the event?
I would love to know. If it was me, I would say, why not have all the above?
Yeah. I mean, what I would imagine it would be pretty good if you just had regular racers that were setting up a race and they agreed, kind of like the People's Court, to have their dispute settled here.
Well, and it's going to have to be. I mean, like we show prep, they have to show. I mean, they're a TV show.
Yeah.
So they have to show prep. I mean, if these people saw us right now, then they would, yeah. But anyway, so I'm sure that they're going to have some setup races that will fill whatever their time slot. There'll be an hour or whatever, minus commercials. So they're going to have some races. They're going to probably have to have quite a few. I don't know. I would love to know what the format's going to be like too. But man, what would be the downside to a bunch of people coming up to a show filming and doing their own thing?
Yeah.
And having that on film too.
Yeah, and I mean, I hope
it'd be great.
They need to capture the realism of like what, and again, we're not condoning street racing, because that's one of the things I hated about Street Outlaws is that it's glorifying something that's illegal and dangerous.
Yeah,
I mean, one guy was charged with murder.
Yep.
For somebody dying in an accident.
Yep. Not good.
This particular thing, like, they need to try to, at least in my opinion, I'm certainly not trying to tell them their job. It would be nice if they captured all the aspects, like the $2 window, like Street Outlaws. It's almost like they listened to us talk about that because they had that going on in their last cash days.
Yeah, right.
And that was the most realistic thing I saw on Street Outlaws.
Well, really, the more we're talking about it, it's going to be hard to fill a show with all set up racing, I think, and do it consistently week to week. I cannot imagine a downside to having. Remember that dopey show Pink's?
Yeah,
Pink's All Out.
Yeah,
talk about hate. I hated that, the whole arm drop thing. But they would have hundreds of cars show up.
I want to just pause you right there for a minute, because apparently Pink's is coming back.
Really?
I had actually sent that to Alan, and he writes back, "Oh my God, no." But I saw something about it that it is coming back, or they're talking about it or something. I don't know if I could look back. I'm sure I have the message that I sent it to Alan.
So they're trying to get on a bandwagon.
Yeah,
I don't see how that. That show honestly was nearly unwatchable.
Yeah, I kind of thought so too.
Although the pastime show that Ken was on, you didn't like it because you sucked at it.
I was so bad at it.
And I was decent at it. It amazed me how good some of the people were. I actually got invited to a taping in Vegas, and I never knew they did like 6 shows in one night. And one of my buddies was on the show, one of my industry buddies, but it was cool. It was cool to watch, but that was watchable because there was a plot and a theme, and there was some interaction. I just thought it was cool, and I was wrong, most of the time too. I probably right more than you were.
Oh, absolutely.
I didn't know you were that bad.
No, because what happened is I looked at everything like a serious drag car. And I'm doing the math.
Well, that's because you ran super stock, and that's
stock stuff,
and everything works in those cars.
Yeah, and so
you forgot that people were just driving up to get on the show.
Yeah,
and potentially a lot of shit didn't work.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm looking at but I mean, I was wrong in both directions. Some things,
yeah, I was too.
Some things I was so far off. And I think my brother and I sat there. We used to do so bad. And I like, if anybody invited me to go on that show, I'd be like, not a chance. Not a fucking chance.
Ken was good.
I liked that show.
Yeah, I liked that show too. I liked it. I mean, Pink's, I couldn't even watch that. It was just whatever.
I mean, I don't know if House of Grudge, if they're gonna do Phil. I mean, look, we all know the race itself is a brief set of TV time. I mean, caption of TV time. It's going to be over in
seconds.
So what do they do? Do they introduce the people? Do they go over their cars? Do they talk about it? Because I would have to think that a lot of the Grudge racers, the real Grudge racers out there, wouldn't want a lot of detail.
Yeah, there's not going to be a lot of detail. And so seriously, if you think about it, those guys are at a deficiency already.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be like, okay, here's car X and car Y and driver X and driver Y, and we can't tell you anything about their cars. We can't tell you how fast they are. They're racing for 20 grand, and there's going to be a winner.
I mean, there could be some story to the back rivalry or how it got started, So there's probably some Phil stuff, or maybe it'll just be like every show is 5 or 10 Grudge races. Who knows?
Yeah,
I mean,
don't know.
And I'm sure they'll do the Street Outlaws thing that the cars launch and let's go to commercial.
Yeah. No, I hope they don't do that. Although that's not bad. You know what's bad on Street Outlaws is when they have like 800 camera views of the car in the same spot.
Yeah.
Because it looks like they only run 660 feet.
I know. Next to the telephone poles.
Yeah.
Guys are so stupid. Stupid.
They actually do run 660 feet.
Yeah, I know they do.
Yeah.
I know they do. Now, the one thing I want to tell you is that because I was doing research about all the shows, I happened to look at the IMDb, the Internet Movie Database, and I was just reading through some of the comments.
I didn't even know what that was.
Yeah. I was reading through some of the comments, and apparently in that area, it's well known that the police are closing down roads and doing stuff just for filming.
Yeah.
So somebody wrote, well, we got an alert that they were going to close this road for 15 hours to film this show or whatever. And the cops told them that they couldn't be there or they were going to get arrested. Like they couldn't be anywhere near it.
Wow.
Yeah. But that was on IMDb, and the guy is from the 405.
So if you live at the 405, you couldn't show up there unless you got cleared by the cops or by the show.
I don't know. I mean, that's just some,
because we talked about going with like hidden cameras.
That's just those stupid glasses with the camera thing.
We're idiots.
I think that that was just an internet guy who posted. I mean, he could just be a guy that was mad that he couldn't bring his fucking handy cam.
Yeah, but it makes sense. Honestly, I mean, they can't have people around there.
True. And it did say that it's filmed primarily in business areas, like areas where it's not residential. That's like business districts. Yeah. So,
yeah, dude, I'm sure they take as much precaution as they can, and yet try to make it look as real as they can.
Well, I'm sure some of the Street Outlaw guys absolutely know that we're talking about them, because one of the benefits to the hosting that I have to do this is it gives you a geographic breakdown of who's listened to what. And, you can see that we've been listened to like almost all over the country. There's a couple states that nobody's listened to us. I don't think anybody in Colorado listened to us. Probably all stoned.
Yeah, they're all smoking pot all the time.
But all of a sudden there's a big flash of Oklahoma.
Nice.
Yeah. And like it went from, like 3 or 4 downloads. But like when you get into it's weird. Like it must be the inner social circles, like people tell their friends that they're close to.
Yep.
So I've watched it happen. It goes from, let's say, 1 or 2 people in a state, and you check the next day and it's like 500. You check the next day, it's like 1,500.
Right.
And it's amazing how quickly it changes.
Yeah, that's the exponential component that Alan would tell us about if he was here.
Get all the math and everything.
Yeah.
So the amount of people that have listened in Oklahoma, I am sure.
They hate us.
Yeah, I'm sure they hate us. All right. Well, you know what? We do have a call.
Nice.
Should we go to the call?
Why not?
All right. Let's go to the call. Hey, buddy. What's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Now, I'm looking at the screen here, and it says John. And I don't want to say your last name unless you want to. But is this the John that used to be at the hole from time to time?
Yeah, I made it out there quite a few times.
Yep.
Interesting.
I know exactly who you are, buddy. Exactly.
Wow.
Yep. I was down there with my younger brother with the Trans Am, the '94 Trans Am.
I remember it.
Yep.
What did you race back then?
At the time, we had a couple cars. I had a '69 Camaro. My brother had a '67.
Nice.
And we were always first-gen Camaro guys. When we used to bring them out there, we used to drag them out there on the trailers, try to get a race going.
Lot of good.
They were good days.
Yep, a lot of good times down there. I had a lot of fun, and so you were around with the guy in a Corvette like George and Jimmy. Jimmy was the guy that owned the Corvette, the yellow Corvette.
Yeah, he was a trip.
Yeah,
and sorry.
So back then, nobody could wrap their thoughts around a car like that being fast. Not like a hot rod you built at your house. Did all this stuff too. There's new technology. People couldn't get a grasp on how fast that stuff could go, but it was pretty amazing.
We talked about that stuff because, like you were down there. If I remember right, the car you were down there with was a big tire car, right?
Well, we had a couple. They were not narrowed, but we had a couple like 11-inch W cars, like that, 10 W car.
Yeah. So it had a pretty good sized tire on it. So, but it was like a conventional drag type car. It wasn't
like what you have going on today with these little radials. That's insane.
Exactly. And like we talked about that in one of the early episodes. I mean, we were talking about the times that we were down there and we were looking at cars and setting up races. And this was a little bit before like the blower guys and the turbo guys really started to come into this. I mean, now, you would, in order to look for us to figure out what we would have to do to set up a race, that'd be pretty difficult because now all this stuff, if it's got a blower or a turbocharger on it or a late model car, you have no idea how fast that thing could really go. It could really surprise you.
Yeah. Too much variable.
I mean, they were a lot simpler back then. You either had a big block or a small block and you had nitrous or you didn't.
Yep. Iron head, aluminum head. Yep. It was a lot easier. Are you going to have a street tire? Are you going to have exhausts? I mean, yeah. Now it's way more complicated. Well, that's good, man. So have you been listening to the episodes or how did you find us?
I listened to the first one. I haven't had a chance to sit down and listen to the rest of them, but I really liked what I heard. It brought back a lot of memories of good old days when everyone went out there. You knew the spot, you knew the day, the time. You went out there and everybody negotiated their own races, and it all happened on the spot. None of this internet back and forth, and
that's good. That's good stuff.
It is good stuff. We used to. It was funny because my younger brother, he was the one that owned the Trans Am and drove the Trans Am. He started racing a dirt circle track car. So we would end up getting home from the races at like midnight on a Saturday night, sometimes a little later. And my father would leave and he'd leave and go home. And Brian and I would jump in his car and we go to Newark. And he could never figure out where the hell we disappeared. He's like, well, where'd you guys go?
Yeah,
it was funny.
We went racing.
Yep, we went racing. And, when you listen to some of the other ones, I'm sure you remember because you were down there a few times, like Anthony DeSoma, who's now a pretty big name in the whole scheme of things. He was down there. Yeah. That's where he started. So it's kind of funny. He talked about he's like, Mike, we were a bunch of degenerates. Street racing.
Yeah, that's how we all started out.
Yeah, absolutely. So
as you get older, you mature, you get more responsible, and you take it off the street.
Yep.
So you're back racing now?
Yeah, I've been down. I've had some downtime redoing my car, safety and all that, and family, and you have obligations. But it's been a slow process. 10 years I've been rebuilding it. I finally got it back together. Made a couple of shots right at the end of the year. Now I spent the winter, correcting the little quirks that you find first time out. And I'm hoping to get out as soon as the weather gets better.
Nice.
All right, John.
That's awesome.
Well, listen, man, we appreciate the call in. We appreciate you listening, and if you can tell your friends and tell people, to give us a shot, and I mean, listen, tell everyone that they can call in. And you know what, we got to start getting used to giving out the number.
Yep.
908-751-0211, and we have a good phone system. We can handle multiple calls at once. So if anybody's out there,
and we got another one now.
Yeah, we got another one now. Actually, you know who I think that is? I think that might be Crunch from Fayetteville. All right, John. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. And listen.
Keep listening, John. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, now how do we listen? Do we just stay on the line and listen?
You can. I can put you on hold, and you can listen the whole time if you want.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, I got you, man. You're on hold. I'll see you.
Great, thanks.
All right, he's on hold.
Hey,
is this the Crunchster?
What's going on, Mike? I'm down here in Fayetteville live.
Yeah, I saw you call in on the remote application, but we were actually talking to a caller. Believe it or not, we had a caller call in, and he's a gentleman that used to race in Newark with all of us.
Knows you.
Matter of fact, we talked about this gentleman with a bigger car, big tire car. It was a Camaro, and but his name is John, and I don't know. I mean, I think we might have said his last name already. I don't know, in previous ones, but yeah,
I don't think we did.
I think. Yeah, so I'm not going to now, but yeah, he was good. It was a good call-in. What's going on down there? Is it warmer, I hope?
It's about 65 degrees right now.
Nice.
A lot different than the snow that I just left last night. So we're here. It's a lot of cars here. These guys are coming in the gate as I stand here. I'm at the front of the gate because I couldn't hear standing anywhere near the burnout box.
Yep. Now, is this whole thing a grudge race? I mean, I'm sorry I don't know more about this event, but I've been so busy to pay attention to stuff.
This is an event that Endicott used to put on. Endicott is a videographer that well known for grudge racing. He used to put it on, but Joe Gray from Long Island took it over. So we're here to support that gentleman from Long Island, Joe Gray, and all the Long Island guys. But this event is a grudge event today.
Okay.
Plenty of food, plenty of cars, and 30 races locked in.
8th mile?
8th mile.
Yep.
Okay.
So, it's gonna be interesting. If I get to see 10 of those 30, I'm happy. But I hope that they get all 30 off.
Well, it's funny that, bringing up the whole grudge racing aspect. Now, from sitting here and doing the show with us, that we've all talked about what we kind of felt, our opinion of Street Outlaws and our opinion of where House of Grudge could potentially go. And apparently the friction is starting already, because there's a little bit of friction kind of between the House of Grudge management and competitors and the 405. One of the guys was told he can't appear on the show or he won't be welcome back on Street Outlaws.
Wow. And why is that?
Doesn't really say. It said the higher ups of the 405 don't want this guy going. It's the guy that's the Cuddy guy, Andrade. He owns.
Got you.
Yep. And
it's a hurt feelings thing, probably.
Yeah, hurt feelings thing.
Yeah.
Not only that, it was kind of funny. They actually made light of the sound effects and some of the stuff we talked about weeks ago.
Yeah, they did.
Right.
So maybe.
Tom, what's up, Tom?
Hey, man, how are you?
Good.
Hey, just
fun.
Good. I'm glad. Just so you know, in your absence, we still hated on Street Outlaws, and you weren't there to protect them.
Well, make sure Mike doesn't use any of the words on.
No. He's been good.
Actually, I was really maybe it's you. Maybe you bring it out of me.
I go out of the state of New Jersey, and now I'm the problem.
No.
All right. Well, get good notes on everything that goes on down there, things to talk about, and
take some video, man, and some pictures.
Yeah, definitely.
Some video for Facebook, and
I'm gonna take a few pictures of the heavy hitter guys, and thinking about that House of Grudge situation. I guess if House of Grudge becomes a success, it'll cancel out the need for a Street Outlaws drama show.
Oh yeah, I mean,
that probably is a financial situation between investors, and they know that the success of the House of Grudge, if they give us the truisms that we're looking for as the real car guys, it'll cancel out the Street Outlaws.
No doubt.
Yeah, well,
So I think that probably is a problem.
we talked about the problems with Street Outlaws, that they didn't have, the side betting going on, and they actually introduced that into their one cash day show. So I'm hoping that
Right.
House of Grudge, and we just talked about it before you came on. We're hoping that House of Grudge has, all the aspects of street racing and grudge racing that we would want to see, and show
Right.
the real story. That's what we're hoping for.
Right. Well, I just want to let you guys know, I'm walking around the pits looking at the cars. I had two guys walk up to me and say, the guys told me your name is Crunch. And I like that podcast. I
Nice.
just want you guys to know that I got that incentive to be I'm walking around with a smile on my face right now.
Well, that's good. That's good. I'm glad. And tell them, if anybody comes up and says that, thank them for all of us. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
You'll be signing autographs soon, bro.
Yep.
Now, Tom, you're about to cut out on us, right? You going to Dubai?
I'm going to Dubai tomorrow. We were just talking about it.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be warm for
Wow, I
me
wish I
too.
was there. We could have ate dinner today since you're going out of the country.
Yeah, I know. That's all right. I'll be back in I think 10 days, and you'll be back up here.
So you'll actually be out next weekend.
I will be out next weekend.
I think Alan will be back next weekend. So it'll be me, Alan, and Crunch. And then we'll see.
Right.
See, the problem is when we record, I think it's going to be a really bad time for you.
That's all right. I can wake up.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
We'll do something.
all right.
Okay. So they have. Well, what is that? What's the hour difference?
It's 9 hours. So I'll be calling you guys. Man, it'll be middle of the night. I'll be calling in, but I'll do it.
Okay. Okay. Because we want you on. It doesn't feel good. I don't feel good being here, but since it's action, I'm gonna record this action, and we'll have something to talk about.
Perfect.
And of course, down there, you can help promote the podcast too. So that's awesome. That actually works out pretty good timing.
Yep.
Tom's also gonna talk to some of his guys over there and see if any of them are interested in getting into this side of racing, like maybe in the grudge side of racing instead of just
Right.
the class racing. So
Because they do have good cars there. I mean, they have some really
Right.
fast stuff, and they bring them over here occasionally. And I got some connections there, so I'm going to see if maybe I can get one or two to pop by. Could be interesting.
Oh, that would be interesting.
They got some,
You have the heavy hitters from all across the world.
well,
Not just the country.
it would be neat, man. There's some fast stuff out there.
Yeah, true indeed. True indeed. Well, fellas, I'm going to go ahead and run around the pits again. I'm down here with Steve, my son, and my cousin Eric, and we're running around having fun.
all right.
So,
Well, enjoy yourself.
signing off.
Yep. Enjoy the
Speed.
Enjoy the
Yeah,
warm
thank
weather,
you.
because when you come back here, it's going to be cold still. So enjoy it while you can.
I hear that. You guys take care. I'll hit you back later.
All
Bye,
right.
man.
See you.
See you, Crunch.
Bye bye.
All right.
That was nice. Well, that's two successful calls from the phone system.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
I'm pretty pleased with that. Everything so far has been all right.
You've done good from the production side.
Well,
People don't know that you're the production engineer too.
oh yeah, running everything, the
not
board,
only, not
and
only
everything.
the talent.
Well, that's pretty good. I mean, if he's down there and people are talking about this, that's good. And you know why? It's exactly what John said before. Because I think that from the grudge racing perspective and the street racing perspective, we talked about how it really is. And any of the guys that were in the middle of that kind of life or aspect, they were probably bothered by Street Outlaws just like we were.
Exactly.
Because it just was not real.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't right.
No.
You watch it because the cars are cool, but you'd way rather have something better.
Yeah.
And it looks like maybe we're going to get that.
That I really have high hopes for House of Grudge.
Yeah.
I really do. I think that it could be done right. I'm not at all happy to hear that Pink's is coming back.
Yeah.
And I'm going to look all that up. I think what's going to end up happening is Pink's is going to come back because the Street Outlaws thing has brought the car racing. This is what happens. And you see it on every cable channel. You'll see first there was Pawn Stars, and now there's Las Vegas Pawn.
Yeah,
There's
hardcore pawn. This
Exactly.
and blah blah blah, and they're all unwatchable, by the way.
Yep.
But
So
but the car stuff, yeah, same thing.
we're going to see, import shootout or, I mean, there's going to be all kinds of stuff.
Well, it started actually. It's funny you mention that because the car thing started before Street Outlaws, with a Pawn Star guy. I forget what the Pawn Star guys were buying cars and they were taking them to this guy Danny something or other, and he was rebuilding cars and then fixing them up and they would sell them at the pawn shop.
right.
And then you had Fast and Loud is another guy that buys cars, fixes them up, customizes them, and goes to auction. And I think they got the car crowd interested, and then Street Outlaws came along. So you're right. It's a progression.
Yeah.
And hopefully the progression gets us to
well, like a show like Fast and Loud, I'm not knocking it. I haven't really seen it, but that wouldn't have the attachment rate that street racing would, because just about anybody that lined up next to somebody else at a traffic light. I mean, I got to say this is so fucked up, but I do this. If I go out for a ride at night, a lot of times I'll just go out and beat on my car to think.
Yep.
I'll kind of like, if a traffic light's coming and it's green, I'll kind of like look around to see if there's anybody.
Well, yeah, I still do that too.
Yeah. All right. So I'm not alone.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I told you about the SRT Jeep I raced a couple of weeks ago in my little Subaru. Made that guy feel really bad about spending all that money.
So, I mean, anybody that drives a car that's in a performance is going to have that kind of level of competition. I remember I was in the car with this girl, Beth, and she's sitting there talking to me, and we're sitting at a traffic light, and I look over and there's a guy in a Mustang, and I was in my older Corvette, and I'm looking at the guy in a Mustang, completely oblivious to anything she's saying. And I'm looking at the guy, and I'm watching the light, and I'm looking at the guy, and I could see what was going to happen.
Sure.
So she's in mid-sentence, light turns green, bam, I'm going through the gears. What the fuck is wrong with you? I mean,
yep. But that's how it is.
That's what guys do.
I know. I'm the same way still, man.
So what's your Abu Dhabi or Dubai or whatever trip for?
It's actually a trade show. You know, as you know, I go to SEMA and PRI here every year for my the company I work for. Where we display all of our new stuff, our old stuff. We talk to people. Well, SEMA has gotten involved with the United Arab Emirates and put together a pretty big show. They actually have 100 rooms in the hotel that I'm staying at.
Really?
Yeah, just for people from here. Precision Turbo will be there. We'll be there. There's a lot of big companies will be there. Anyway, I was asked to go and be the head judge of an engine building contest. I actually got to pick the competitor from here as well.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I have some good friends over there, and they ran this idea by me a couple shows ago. They went to a show in Germany, and they had a motorcycle build-off, they called it.
Now let me stop real quick. This is not like the thing that I'd love to talk about one day that you were involved with too, the Engine Masters Challenge?
No.
Okay.
No, but we should talk about that.
Yeah.
That's actually a good subject.
Yeah. I like that. I still have that yellow shirt somewhere.
Yeah.
I do.
No, so they came to me with this biker build-off thing and said, hey, we want to do this with an LS-based engine.
Okay.
So it's a guy from the Emirates versus a guy from the U.S. They actually are going to take an engine out of a truck, a GMC Sierra. They both have the same truck. And they're going to build an engine on site.
Right.
Put it in the truck. And it's over a 3-day, like 5-hour-a-day thing. We're gonna field questions.
All right, so this isn't like one of the stupid NASCAR things where the guy has to put the motor together and has to run for like 30 seconds or
No,
something.
it's actually cool. The motors are going to go together. They're going to go in separate trucks, and they have to make 10 dyno pulls. And the winner, the guy who makes the best average power, gets both of the engines to keep.
Really?
And you're talking about, $12,000 to $15,000 engines.
So is this focusing just on craftsmanship? Like, I mean, how does this work? Are the blocks prepared, or are they given parts, or how does this work?
Yeah, we gave them parts. We got a bunch of sponsorship. The company I work for, Manley, donated rotating assemblies, and GM Performance donated blocks and heads. And they had about a month and a half to figure out what they were going to do with the engines, their finesse, their engine building craft, like stuff you used to do.
Well, do they get to pick out a camshaft and everything?
No.
Or no?
Well, they do, but it's going to be from 4 grinds that are at the show. They know nothing about the camshaft right now.
Okay.
So one thing I will tell you, they did completely build the engine here and take it apart just because they had to.
Right.
You can't be boring and honing a block and, grinding rings and porting heads and doing that kind of stuff.
Right. And that's
site.
That's the thing I was trying to get to. Like, they're going to take the motor out of the truck, and then they're putting in a motor that they put together.
Right. Well, no, they're going to put the motor together there.
Okay.
It was put together here.
Right.
You're an engine builder. You gapped rings, checked clearances, marked bearings, blah, blah, blah. And then they took it all apart and shipped it over there in pieces.
Okay.
So the first day is we're going to field questions, take the old motor out. It's going to be cleaned and, accessories are going to be transferred over. Second day, they build the engine, put all the, brackets, alternator, blah, 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 everything that the truck needs to run. And third day, 10 dyno pulls each. And what it's going to do is, because it's such a level playing field, they're going to choose camshaft, and they were obviously allowed to make some choices with regard to compression ratio. Like, my guy and I talked about cylinder head work and how much to mill them and, gaskets and all that stuff. And then it's a tuning thing.
So you know what I'd like to do? The way that I'd want to put this,
Tell me.
I'd want two guys to get two GM blocks, a block apiece.
Yep.
Two LS heads. Here's all your parts. You can alter bearings for fitment only.
Yep.
For sizing. So, you have to use this model of bearing, and the guy's got to put it together with this camshaft. You can't do a valve job. You can't do anything, but you handle the assembly.
Well, what that would do is kind of make it boring, because we're assuming that these guys can assemble the engine and it's not going to blow up ever.
There's so much more to it than that, though.
Well, I know you know that, and I know that, but that's all been done. What they're keying in here on is the craftsmanship that they're allowed to do, because the fans are going to know that the camshaft selection is here. There's going to be 4 cams,
right? 2
of each, 8 cams actually. They can pick the cam. They're allowed to do whatever they want to the cylinder heads except CNC port them.
Okay.
They both got the same rotating assembly, obviously same bore, same stroke, so it's going to be based on how good a tuner they are, how far they want to go to the edge of the tuning envelope
to see if it makes 10 passes.
That's our plan.
Question. The 10 passes, do they get to make 10 passes? Like, it goes in the truck and then we go to the dyno and they have to end up with their result by the end of the 10?
Yep.
Okay, so they're going with whatever they think is close for a tune when they drop it in.
Yep.
And they have to tune and tune and tune, and hopefully your best pass.
You better be able to, and it's average power too. So you better be able to get on it quick.
Oh, it's average all 10.
Yes.
Okay, this is pretty interesting.
It is. The concept is pretty cool. But I will tell you, we've had many discussions, the American team and I, because, obviously we want to wave our flag.
Yeah.
And their guy is good. People, it's really funny. Years ago, I've been going there for a while, and I've been there a few times, and people, thought that they bought everything here because nobody knew anything over there, but it's not that way.
They can't get anything over there.
Exactly.
They have to buy it here.
So they buy it here, but there's some smart engine builders. They have complete machine shops. I've been to places with 2 chassis dynos and the state of the art engine dyno. So this guy that we're against he's the real deal. So it's going to be how far, we've talked about it. How far do we want to go, with, timing and, AFR and, you're going to be right. The last pull, the thing's probably going to be knocking like a diesel.
Yeah.
Just like at Engine Masters Challenge. I've told you about those stories.
Yeah, we'll definitely go over them because they are some interesting stories. And the one guy that, of all things, we raced against, Circle Track Racing, and I want to point out that we beat the guy every week. The guy who won one year did Circle Track motors for one of the guys we raced against.
Really?
And we hammered him every week.
Oh.
God, is it there a guy, is his name Dave George maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, did he win one?
No.
Well, somebody won one. Oh, no, you know what happened? I think he was second.
No, Dave George, I don't.
No, maybe it's not Dave George.
It's not Dave George. It's not. Given enough time, I'll remember who it was, but I remember who all the winners are. And, John Kazi won a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And,
it was funny because this guy said, my guy's an Engine Masters Challenge, and we beat him every week. And it was funny because, it was to the point that, Brian would pull out a line and pass him going down the straightaway. It was bad.
Yeah. Tony Bischoff won a couple times. Well, we'll save it for another show.
Yeah. No, that's worth discussing.
But yeah, so this thing should be pretty cool.
All right.
We're going to try not to blow it up, but it's going to be right there.
Can you can have video of this? I hope.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you get some stuff for our pages. And
Absolutely. Well, they're going to take pro video of it.
Okay, that's nice.
Because we're promoting for the next year already. I've been I signed on to handle that part of the show every year now.
Okay, and it's going to happen. Why isn't anything like this happening here? I mean, Christ, it almost sounds like a TV show.
You know, I don't know. I don't know why it doesn't happen here.
Maybe you should talk to Ken Herring.
Maybe I will.
There we go.
Don't dare me. No, man, it's a great concept. You know, like you started to say at the shows every year, somebody builds a motor and they give it away for charity.
Yeah.
But it would be cool to put one together and put it on a dyno and let people see, you know, what they do.
Yeah, because it's not. See, when you said it at first, I thought it was just the people building the motor, but there's the tuning aspect. There's everything involved.
Yeah.
That's actually a pretty neat deal.
It is a neat deal. It's going to be cool.
If I wasn't a fossil, I'd like to think about that stuff. But that's all the tuning stuff is more than I want to learn. I don't have enough space left. No. I got an HP tuners for my cars, and I've looked at them a few times. Said, yeah, I kind of understand this, and then that's like as far as I've ever gone.
Yeah, you just blank out.
Yep. Well, that's pretty good stuff. Is there actual money race stuff that goes on over there too?
Yeah.
You might want to see just in the nightlife side of things, because now maybe you're looking at it from a little different perspective. Ask around and see if there's any street race stuff that's going on at night.
Well, I mean, I know there is because, like I said, I've been there, and I know they race a lot at night. But street racing isn't real big, I don't believe there.
Okay.
They race more sand drag and hill climb.
They have sand over there?
Funny.
Well, didn't you say all the roads are like almost constantly covered
Yeah,
with like a film of sand?
Yeah.
That's got to suck.
And it's kind of in the gutters. It's sandy there.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was in at the really nice track in Bahrain, and that was years ago, man. That was 2008, I think. It was the track is a problem because it was kind of like Vegas. Vegas had that problem too. It gets sandy, and you know the sand sticks to the track prep, and track goes away.
Interesting.
Yeah. But they got it figured out now. I mean, there's plenty of fast.
Well, I got to tell you, I don't think there's too many automotive podcasts that have like roving correspondents to get to go places like Dubai and everything else.
No.
We definitely got a unique group here.
Yes,
no doubt about it.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. I'll take as much video as I can, and I'm going to talk to him. I'm actually going to try to get somebody to come over here and do something. You know, get with our racing.
I'd love to get Anthony's guy. Even if it's an exhibition thing, to go after those half-mile guys. And, you know, the drag guys, I've said this a bunch of times, and hopefully they're listening. Please call in and defend me, or just at least tell Tom he's wrong. I mean,
that's more important. Even if you guys are wrong, he just wants to hear somebody tell me I'm wrong.
And I'm not going to rehash the whole thing, but it'd just be a real pro mod type car running a half mile. How fast do you think the thing would go at the end of the half mile? The current record is held by some Lamborghini things that are, Tom thinks, have magic all-wheel drive, and they go 233 in a half mile. And I think back, and I know it's not prepped, and I know the whole argument we've had.
What about the pixie dust?
Yeah, pixie dust.
Or pixel dust,
Pixel
like
dust.
you said.
I know.
Geek.
I know that I'm telling you, a car like Anthony's, if it didn't go 250 with just a little bit of screwing around, it's something's wrong. It's got to. So if you can get one of your guys, or if Anthony gets one of his guys, and more than anything, this would have to be an exhibition thing, because unfortunately what we have found out, it doesn't really fit their rules.
Right.
You know, but I mean, maybe a half-mile grudge race could happen.
Wow.
I don't know.
How much fun would that be, though?
Well,
that would be pretty cool.
I can't imagine too many drag racers. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a bunch of them out there with a screw loose, but you know, even Anthony.
That's going to help our cause.
Well, I mean, you have to be a little nutty to do this. I mean, you think John Force is okay? I mean,
you're killing me.
No,
man.
I'm not saying that he's like deranged or psycho, but
no, they're fearless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and that to me has to come with a certain level of nuttiness.
Okay.
So if you're
point taken,
if you're going to go a half mile full on in a pro mod, like this guy's going to do that we talked about, is going to do the mile.
I know.
You know,
I want to see that.
I don't think Anthony would do it. I don't, and because he's even made it known that he'd rather not race quarters.
Right.
So that's
so add another quarter and then add another half.
half.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. This guy's got 2 overdrives on a Top Sportsman car, a Pro Mod car. My God.
All right. Well, we're a little short, but I don't think there's anything else that you need to talk about.
No,
is there?
we're good. We're good. I actually have to pack and get ready for tomorrow.
Yeah, I know you got to get out of here.
Yep. It was a good crunch call. I hope he gets some video and some pictures. He'll get pictures of himself with all the big shots there.
Yep, and
He's good at
unfortunately, I do see that 2 or 3 more people called, and they're on hold and they're listening. But it's just Tom's got to get out of here. He's got to pack. We started a little late.
Sorry about that.
Our show prep was a little messed up today, but listen,
What do you mean today?
Yeah, well, but Saturdays generally around the neighborhood of 12 to 2. We'll always try to get it out there. We're also using a program that I don't know how good it is, and we did run live audio through it today. It's from it's a thing called Mixlr, Mixlr. It did go out live, so if anybody happened to get on that site, I mean, we just did it to test to see if it was gonna work and be stable through the whole thing. But again, just so everybody understands, I'm going to give out the phone number again and tell people, we encourage you to call in 908-751-0211, and if you call in early, the phones are on. So when you call, you go right into hold, and you'll even hear us talking before the show starts.
I was whining about my watch before, so.
Yeah, it's it's a little bit behind the scenes stuff, and hear what goes into it.
It's pretty cool.
So, all right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody, and we appreciate it. And thanks to the people that called. And it was good to have John call.
It was good.
I'm gonna see maybe if I can catch up with him a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good.
All right. See you, everybody.
Yeah,
Thanks
for listening.
See ya.